Alright, so today I'm going to be getting the interior put back together. Alright, so I just got that starter relay bolted back. That was honestly the hardest thing. Got the ECU remounted. Alright, so now I'm about to throw the speaker back in. Gonna clean these up. Get the glove box in. Got all the carpets vacuumed. That was pretty stained, but that's okay. Alright, so now I'm gonna get the kicker panels in. Got those installed. Now, the next thing, I got these floor mats off eBay. They were only 20 bucks. They're like a universal fit, but they're all leather. So you can take them out, wash them if you need to. Perfect. So I'm gonna get these installed real quick. I'm super happy with this fitment. These look awesome. Back looks like. Perfect fitment. Goes right over the transmission housing arch thing. It's perfect. So that's cool. So I guess the next thing I'll do is getting this thing installed. Pick this up off Amazon and I paid the price for it. But I think it's cool, it's original. So I wanted to put it back in. So. Alright, so I wasn't really happy with how that looked. So I took out this bracket, which went right here, and this bezel fits a lot better, but there's some broken tabs in it, so it's not securing the leather boot things, but honestly, that looks cool. So I'm just gonna keep it like that. Well, it's official. It's now legal to drive on the road, so that's cool. Alright, it's a new day. I've been kind of doing some things off camera. I got the shifter boot epoxied in, so that looks a lot cleaner. I got the gauge cluster out because the oil pressure gauge wasn't working. So here it is. Been going through the manual, testing things, and I'm pretty sure the gauge is fried. So I'm gonna order an aftermarket unit, which I really didn't want to do, but I'd rather see some kind of oil pressure reading than none. This wheel is straight with the steering wheel. This wheel is towing out a little bit, so here in the next week or two I'm gonna take this to the alignment shop and have them do an alignment, balance and air up the tires. So that's cool. I'm about to get the cluster back in. I'm running the LC 140 amp alternator, and they provided this wire. I hooked it up like how it would be from factory without using the wire, and I started thinking, you know, I might as well run this wire because I don't want to burn up anything. So I'm gonna be doing that. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Alright, so I went through and greased all the drive shaft fittings, and then I was trying to figure out why this thing was shaking so much at idle, and so I called Jim at 22RE Performance, and he immediately came back and said, man, I watched your startup video and immediately knew that this thing was not firing on one cylinder. So I was like, oh shit. So yesterday I used the timing light to make sure that all the wires are good, you know, like squeeze the trigger, see if it pulses. Those are good. Pulled all 4 spark plugs, and the 3rd spark plug is almost brand new looking. So that's the cylinder that I'm targeting. And I also unplugged number 3, and it started up just how it normally has been, and then I did plug this one back and unplugged number 1, and it ran even worse. So I'm suspecting cylinder 3, so what I'm going to do is take off the intake plenum. I'm going to test injector 4, see if it clicks, and then I'm going to test injector 3, see if it clicks. I'm hoping it's just a stuck injector, because this wiring harness is kind of a pain to deal with, so I'm hoping it's that. So I'll get this taken apart and I'll show you guys. Alright, this is where I'm at. Got the plenum off. I'm actually about to take the rail off. Just took the bolts out. Here's the plenum. So yeah. Alright, so this is injector number 3. I just tested injector 4 with a 9-volt battery. Polarity does not matter, so all you gotta do is connect 2 terminals to 2 on here, and on number 4 I could hear that it's clicking. Number 3 is not. I'm so thankful that it's an injector and not something with the harness. So I'm gonna keep tapping on this and see if I can get it to unstick. So I hit on the injector more, and I finally got it to unstick. So I just got the fuel rail bolted all back in. So hopefully when I get this all back together, it'll run great. Alright, so I finally got the missing piece to put this thing back together. Plenum gasket. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Alright, it's all put back together. Hopefully that number 3 injector is gonna work now after I unstuck it. So I'm gonna go ahead and crank it and let's see if it sounds any different from the original startup video. It is so smooth now. This is how it should be running. Alright, so since I fixed that injector, I've been driving it the past few days now to see how it drives, and honestly it runs great. The only issue I had this past weekend, I was leaving band practice and I got about 15 seconds down the road and the whole truck started to vibrate. So I looked in my driver's side mirror and I just happened to catch the moment in which all 6 of my lug nuts flew off. So that was crazy. My wheel literally was moments away from flying off. Luckily I managed to find a jack. So yeah, I got the wheel back on. Been kind of sketched about driving it a lot after that. But so today what I'm going to be doing is installing this Autometer oil pressure gauge. I think I'm going to install it right there. It's a good spot for it, I think. First thing I got to do is take out that OEM sending unit because it won't work with this aftermarket gauge. I gotta install this one, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, so I got the new sending unit installed. Used a little bit of gray RTV. So this is the gauge I got. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's pretty basic. It's got 3 terminals on it, 3 spades. The one on the left goes to the sender, the one on the right goes to a 12-volt accessory, and the 3rd one, the top one, goes to ground. And then you got a light that's optional, which I'm going to run it. Black is ground, white goes to your headlight power. So yeah, I'm not going to really film any of this just because I want to get it done because I don't have that much daylight. So yeah. Alright, so I ran out of daylight yesterday. So I'm gonna go in and show you guys where I'm at. Got the signal wire going to the sending unit. I know it's kind of hard to see. Let's see. I got the 2 grounds, one for the gauge and one for the light. And then I just spliced in to the radio ignition. So yeah, when the ignition turns on, I got this fused 3 amp connected, so that will go to ignition on, gauge gets power. So the only thing I gotta do left is get a power to when I turn the headlights on, the light will come on. So this is where I'm at right now. So yeah, when I turn the lights on, that works. Got all the wires hooked up. Now I'm just gonna put everything back together and hopefully I got oil pressure. All right, so after all that, I got the light, got a ground, power, and the sending unit. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hook her up. All right, so that is the gauge installed. So let's see if we have oil pressure. Let's see if the light turns on. Nice. Well, that's neat. Cool. That was close. That would have sucked. This tree's been wanting to come down for at least like 2 years now. And I knew it would probably fall at some point. And it finally did. But luckily, none of the vehicles were harmed.